Me? Who is me? Who cares who me is? Me is Jack Wallen. I is Jack Wallen. And I am here to once again talk to you about the craft of writing. Yes, I have been doing this for a very long time. Not just writing. I've been writing for 20 plus, actually 25 plus years. Coming in on 30 years. And I've been doing this little discussion here in video for 5 years maybe. Yeah, about that long. So I've talked about a lot of things. And today's little discussion is brought to you by the first draft of The Haunting of Lily Marchbanks, which is the sequel to The Ghosts of Brookhaven. I don't know if that's going to be the final title. I have other ideas. But for now, it is The Haunting of Lily Marchbanks. If you've read The Ghost of Brookhaven, or just Ghosts of Brookhaven, you understand where that might be going. Okay, so here's the deal. What I want to talk about today is the idea that you have to be absolutely and completely honest with yourself. What does that mean? Well, besides the obvious, let me just put it to you this way. Last night, I was doing my thing, and I wrote a particular scene in the book, chapter maybe 6, I don't know, somewhere around there. And after I wrote it, I wrote my 1,000 minimum of 1,000 words. Closed my laptop up, sealed it in its case, put it under the bed, laid down and went to sleep. Or I laid down and attempted to go to sleep. But here's the thing. While I lay me down to sleep, I pray the truth my soul to keep. And I realized that something I had written couldn't have possibly happened. Although I wanted it to play out exactly how I wrote it, I had to be honest with myself and say, self, no, it's not going to work that way. It can't work that way. Logic would dictate that it not be possible. So when I go back to rewriting that scene, I have to approach it with an eye on reality. Now, of course, this is a ghost story, so reality is relative. But the one thing that is not so, well, it is relative, but the one thing that has to be believable is the human being's reaction to what they're seeing. You can be writing the most crazy, strange, magical, otherworldly book. But the thing is, you have to remember that readers have to be able to believe not only that something could happen, possibly even on this other planet, but that the reaction of what happens by the people in the story are believable. And that is kind of the crux of the issue. I wrote something in this book last night, and when I really was honest with myself, I realized that the reaction that I wrote to this particular circumstance wasn't believable. It wasn't honest. It wasn't genuine. It wasn't organic. In fact, the way that these two characters would react to what happened was the polar opposite of what I wrote. Now, I'm going to relate this to Meisner, which is far-fetched a little bit. Not really. Actually, it's not far-fetched at all. Meisner is the acting technique that I was trained in. I went to Purdue University. I trained in Meisner for 3 years. I have an MFA in acting. So I know this pretty well. Pretty well. So, Meisner, boiled down, is behaving truthfully under given circumstances. And sometimes, as an actor and as a writer, it is hard to be able to judge those things by yourself. So, And this is especially true with some of the endeavors that I'm undertaking right now. I'm doing a lot of filming myself as an actor without a director. So I have got to, when I watch these videos, I have to step back. I have to step away from my performance, and I have to watch them and think, is this believable? The same thing holds true with your writing. You've got to read it when you go back and read it, because you will go back and read it before it goes to the edits. You have to read it with an eye on whether or not what you have written is believable, is logical, is plausible. Because if you write something that's not, people are simply not going to buy it. And I don't mean pay for it, I mean buy it. They're going to read it and they're going, no, 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 no. This is just not. I mean, I was watching, I can't remember what it was, but, I was watching a show on Apple TV called Truth Be Told. It's a very good show. And some of the brilliant acting, very good writing, very good direction. It's a good show. But as we were watching the show the other night, I had to point out to my wife that when you're recording a podcast or anything audio, you do not sit that far away from your microphone. It's just not believable. So, yes, there are people chopping down trees outside the house. Anyway, so because I'm not attached to that, I was able to just look at it right away and go, nope, not believable. When you're reading your own stuff, or when you're watching yourself on film, you have to take special precautions. Because here's the thing. You have written this story, or this scene, or this moment in this chapter, and you're tied to it. You love it. What you wrote is brilliant. So you're not going to want to step back and say, I love how I wrote this, but it's not exactly believable. And what's going to happen is you're going to finish that book and you're going to send it off to beta readers, right? You're going to use beta readers. And the beta readers are going to come back and say, I don't believe this part. And what happens? What happens if that little piece in that scene that those beta readers did not believe informs everything else in your book? Then all of a sudden you've got a lot of rewrites on your hands. So it is important, nay, crucial, that as you write, you go back and you read what you've written and you think, is this believable? Is it logical? Is it within reason? Would human beings actually react to these circumstances in this way? If not, you've got to rewrite it. But you've got to be honest with yourself. Brutally honest with yourself. Because sometimes when you are honest with yourself and you realize that those people would not react that way, that means you've got to rewrite it, even if it is the best thing, your favorite thing that you have ever written. Now, in my case, I caught it early enough. I can go back and make changes and it won't be that big of a deal. But in this case, had I not been honest with myself, the readers would stop at this point and go, no way. No way would they react like that. And the rest of the book would be colored by that reaction. And they would start thinking, this isn't believable, that's not believable, blah, 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 blah. You want to make sure everything is grounded in reality. When I wrote I, Zombie I made sure that everything I wrote in that book could be plausible. It was hard at times, but I wanted to make sure that people read a post-apocalyptic book and thought, this could happen. And I try to write everything with that in mind. Could this happen? I would rather write something that could possibly be a reality than something that is not. Now, that means I can bend and twist reality. I can write something that's fantastical and fantastic and still be within the bounds of logic and reason. Now, there are exceptions to every rule, of course. You might be writing something that's absurd. And by absurd, I mean absurdist. And in that case, then you can throw reality out the window and do whatever you want. But if you're writing something that the universe or the genre is grounded in reality, you have to be honest with yourself. Okay? So it's hard because it's not just hard to be able to step back and be honest. with yourself. It's hard sometimes when you are honest with yourself and you discover that you've written something that is completely not believable. Then you have to go, okay, number one, I've got to rewrite it. Number two, how do I write it? Number three, how does it affect the rest of my book? But trust me, the more honest you are with your work, the better it's going to be in the end. And isn't that what this is all about? It is all about being and writing the best you possibly can. And that's all I've got today for you people out there, you lovely, wonderful people out there. I hope that everything is grand. I hope that you are safe and well. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending a little bit of time with me today, whatever day it is that you watch this. And please remember to support artists. We need your help. We could not do this without you. And I know that times are hard for some people, and you've got to, spend your money wisely. And but consider authors when you're spending your money, especially in the holidays when you're buying gifts. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. You, my friends, are all awesome.